Good morning, everybody. It is Saturday. We're live. It's the closing line college hoop show, getting you ready for a jam-packed, action-filled Saturday in college hoops. It's January 20th, 2018. I'm your host, the big man on campus. As always, we'll rapid fire through the college hoops card, hoping to find some value today. Ian Cameron, how you doing today? He joins me. How you doing, Ian?
Doing great, big man. It's a great card. It's a loaded Saturday card. Lots of good opportunities out there, so I'm looking forward to digging into it. Let's go.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Should be fun. Last night there was a small card, nothing crazy. I think there were what, 7 games. Did you have any plays last night, Ian Cameron? How'd you do? Did you win? You lose?
Yeah, it was a tough night last night overall for me. Manhattan was a bit of a disappointment. I took the Jaspers in that game against Canisius, and that was the big one. That was the significant play for me, and didn't have a good second half. Did not play good offensively. I thought their defense did well enough. The Canisius is a good scoring basketball team, but they just couldn't make enough shots. Rebounding was a little bit of a problem as well for Manhattan in that game last night. So that was a disappointing result. But I think I got a great chance to make up for it and then some today. There's a lot of good spots out there and a lot of good situations that I think we'll be able to take advantage of.
Yeah, Saturday always a fun card to try to decipher, and we will look for plenty of edges today. We welcome in everyone out there listening. As always, in the chat, feel free. Please hit the like button. It's always important to the growth of the shows and to the to the analytics department. So please hit the like button. But the bigger thing is, if you're on Twitter, retweet the show. It's huge to getting it out to maybe people that haven't seen it. And I also urge you, Ian, every day people contact me and they say to me, "Where should I go bet? What book should I use?" And I say, "You know what? Go to sportsbookreview.com, take a look at the rating guide, the best sports books. They'll give you the skinny on what books to avoid. There are also the blacklist, the books to stay away from, the books that you shouldn't be dealing with. And there's some good ones on there, some ones you don't think would be on there. Don't collapse financially because of a book not paying you. Make sure you're looking through that. You know where you're going. And also using SBRpicks.com. It's a great resource. A lot of great bloggers that go through and put out good articles daily. You got all sorts of stuff over there: tennis, basketball, football, baseball, all sorts of stuff. So check that out as well. A lot of stuff going on here at SBRpicks.com. Let's
I
get
got
into the
before
show.
we I was just
Yep.
going to say, big man, quickly before we get into Saturday's card, I do have to ask, what can Brown do for you? It can put some damn cash in your pocket, like it did for you last night, big man. So way to go with that
Yeah,
call.
yeah. Good. Thank you. Yeah, Brown did for me last night. Great point by you. Yeah, I don't really bet the Ivy League too much, but I just thought in revenge there at home, I thought it was a decent spot. They were able to get the outright win. So, yeah, we'll take it. Free throws are big in that game. Ian, in the first game, they missed 13 free throws. I just didn't think that would happen last night. So, hey, we get the job done. But hey, it's all about moving on and getting involved today. Let's start out here with some of these early games. You got a couple starting at 12 o'clock. First one that jumped out at me, and I'm interested in hearing your opinion here. 523, 524, Villanova on the road at Connecticut. Look, I'm not looking to step in front of Villanova, and I know a lot of people will look at Villanova and say, wow, that's a lot of points to lay on the road, even with Villanova. But keep in mind, UConn's going through some real strife right now. Their coach, Kevin Ollie, is having some real personnel problems. I've heard some bad things coming out of stores as far as with this team. They don't like him. They don't want to play for him, seemingly. He's banned social media, which is kind of weird. I get it, but it's weird for college kids. Villanova's a roaring freight train right now, and if you can get Connecticut shooting jump shots all day, you may, have a real nice defensive performance. I don't know that Connecticut scores 60 points in this game. I wouldn't be looking to back the underdog. However, it is an early game. It's on the road for Villanova. I think as long as they don't come out flat here, they should be able to get the job done. I'm up in the air on this one. What do you think, Ian Cameron?
I will not be betting against Villanova. Period. End of story. It's Villanova or pass for me. It's tricky on the road laying this many points, but you're right. It's got that. This is not a vintage UConn team for Kevin Ollie this season. It's not. He's had better teams than this one. This is not an impressive team offensively. I don't think they've had that same toughness and defensive mindset either that we've really seen in the UConn teams in years past and going back to the Jim Calhoun era. That is the one thing you could always rely on. with the Huskies. Put that hard hat on, defend, guard your position, guard your man, rebound, show some toughness, be physical inside. I don't see as many of those kind of quality attributes in this Yukon squad this season. So for me, it's Villanova or pass. I'm always very leery laying this kind of chalk, especially in an early start road game. But I want no part of Yukon here. It's Nova or pass.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, they're really rolling right now. I think defense has become a bigger priority. Not that it wasn't everyone, but yeah, they got a little complacent defensively. Villanova really in that Xavier game. That's really when they started to kind of roll defensively, and they shouldn't have a ton of trouble today against UConn. Big man watching from a tree stand. Very wow, interesting. Must be hunting, I would imagine. Hopefully you get
That's
exactly what you're
dedication.
looking.
Holy mackerel.
Yeah. Hopefully you have headphones in, you'll scare people away. Um, what is your best over under? I'm not sure. We'll get through a lot of the games. We'll try to see what we'll have. My play of the day, I haven't decided on yet. I'll probably give out one of the games that I'm on here. You have to follow me on Twitter. I'm not in one of these guys. I know you do it. I don't necessarily lump in all the games at once and just send them out all at once. I kind of am a little bit more, spontaneous as far as sending them out. Let's keep it going here. Interesting game here. Wichita State, Houston. Wichita laying a small number on the road to Houston. This Houston team is better than people think. I think Rob Gray is a really good player. And I got to tell you, Wichita State defensively looks just pretty poor. I don't think they're very good on that side of the ball. Do you have any thoughts on this game, Ian Cameron?
Yeah, I mean, I was not one of those people that got involved in Wichita State's last game against SMU, but I know it was disappointing to see them play the way they did. SMU really couldn't miss a shot. They were very good offensively. They threw his own defense at Wichita, and they had struggles with it throughout that basketball game. That was a concern for them, and a rather surprising because you just don't see it often. What usually is something you could always count on? Wichita State winning at home, and finally that did not happen for them the other night against SMU. But I like this bounce back spot here for Wichita State. Greg Marshall sort of tore a strip off the team following that performance against SMU. Was not happy at all with this team. And the one thing that Wichita State's been pretty good at is following a bad performance with a much better one. It is tricky with Houston on their home court. It's a good home court. It's a good basketball team. It really is. But I have that sense Wichita State, unlike the SMU game, is going to bring it on the defensive end of the basketball court. You're getting at least a cheap enough price here, in that one possession type of range with Wichita State as a short road favorite, enough to get involved. I trust this team, trust this coach off a bad performance. We've seen this before out of Wichita State over the years, going back to when Fred Van Vliet was on this team, when Ron Baker was on this team, when they had all these great players over the last recent seasons. They would play good off a bad showing. And that was pretty consistent of Wichita State teams in years past. I'm going to bank on that here today, and I'm on Wichita State there as a small road favorite.
Yeah, you would imagine they should get it turned around here. I like Houston, but we have to remember Wichita State is the team to beat probably in this conference. It's a big step up kind of game. Wichita heading out on the road, maybe clear their head a little bit. They've been good on the road this year, 7-1 to the number. And we also remember, and I don't know how much stock this will play, but Houston's not playing in their home gym. They're playing at a neutral gym as their stadium gets worked on. So, yeah, that's kind of a random little thing to throw in, but it's a tough one early on. I don't have much opinion there on that one. According to one of the listeners here, Houston has some flu problems. Yeah, I would like to see if his connection to Houston, um, but again,
Yeah, I've
we
heard
we
that
need to.
multiple people have said that. Yeah, about some flu
Uh,
bug running through the Houston locker room, but that's not the
yeah,
basis of this play. I mean, I'm not basing it on the flu. I mean, come on,
sure.
you got to have more reasons than that. And my reason is I believe in Wichita State having a step up, max intensity, max focus effort here after that home loss to SMU. I think you get their best today. We'll see. I think we see a good game
Yeah,
out of them.
also, I would be aware of see who's exactly out. I mean, if it's like the ninth player on the bench, not a big deal. If it's Rob Gray, then it's more of a deal. We'll have to stay abreast of that and see what the story is there. Uh, a game here that I'm looking at, Ian. Then we'll get into one or two of yours, and then we'll keep it moving. Uh, Temple Penn. What's this? At 2 o'clock, 5:57, 5:58. I've been really mostly pretty good on fading Temple. I've picked the right spots with them generally. The only game I've really lost with them was that SMU game. I bet the other side. But Temple, the betting profile for this group is you don't want to lay big numbers with them. Anything above 5, I think you got to really raise your eyeball a little bit. But I think this is a decent spot to back the Owls today. Maybe on the money line. That might be on the way to look with them here. They're playing Penn, who isn't in the same league as them. Penn's a solid group, but they're not to the level of Temple. Temple is better athletes. They're better players. This should be the spot where the Temple Owls are able to get the job done. Penn, though, has played pretty well this year overall. They're 12-5. The big concern for the Penn Quakers is they are awful at the foul line. I mean, they're just terrible. And I just don't think athletically they're as good as Temple. This game is not really a road game. It's more of a neutral court game. The Palestra is a place that the Philly teams play every year. These schools are separated by literally, I don't know, 20 blocks. I mean, it doesn't take far to get down to Penn. It's about a 7-10 minute bus ride. It ain't far at all with traffic down Broad Street and over to Market Street. So it's not a particularly long trip. This is Fran Dunphy's. This is the first school he coached at for many years. You have to imagine he always has a pretty good game plan here for this game. But Temple struggled to shoot. They've gotten it going on the road actually a little bit better than at home. I think they're able to go on the road here and get the job done. If I had to lay 7, wouldn't be interested. But for them just having to win here, I'm confident they get the job done. They've won 16 of 20 against Penn, so I think they're capable of getting the job done here.
Yeah, I have Temple for the season. This is something you're going to want to keep note of for the season. Temple, when laying 7 points or more, 0-6 against the number. There you
There you
go.
go. Yeah,
There you go.
that's pretty unbelievable. Actually, that's good work by you to kind of add it all up there. Yeah, they don't cover numbers that high, and I've tried to tell people about that all year. They just don't put the ball in the hoop, and they don't defend against bad teams. They can't pull away in Cameron.
No, they can't. But this is a totally different kind of price range. You're laying just 2 here. You're almost in a straight up win situation. Win the game,
I'm looking to
you
bet
got a
them
good
on the.
chance to cover the number.
I'm looking to bet them on the money line. I'm not looking to lay
Yeah.
2 here. Anything 2 or less, I'm laying the money line. That's just something I do.
I do the
So
same thing. Yep. Yep.
yeah, for me, it's I wouldn't have a problem doing it at a baseball level. For me, especially with a team like Temple, could this come down to the final? Let's say you lay in 2 here, and at the end of the game, I mean it's a 1 point game. You got to make these free. It's just you're sitting on the edge. I just want to have them win the game. I'm confident. Doesn't mean it make me less confident. It's just something I always do. Um, and you look at Temple overall. I mean, they're 9-9, but you look at that 9-9. There's a lot of real good wins in there. They're able to normally win these kind of games against these teams. They should. So Temple would be a game that I'm definitely looking at here. Ian,
Let
let's
me
get into
quickly
some of the
point out,
games you're
and
looking at.
let me quickly point out too why it's not insane to lay money line prices at favorites less of 2 or less. Think about this, and I've seen this situation happen millions of times. A team's on the free throw line, you've got the -2, they're up by 2, they got a chance to sink the game, 6 seconds left, being 2 free throws made, up by 4, 2 possession lead, they exhale. They just basically they're all standing around 4 seconds, 3 seconds, 2 seconds. The other team jacks up a 3, it goes in. They win by 1, you lose your bet. You want to avoid that situation in that spot. And the money line bet, it's those late game shenanigans that could happen in a close game like that. If you bet the money line there, you still win if they win by 1. If you laid the 2 and they are up by 4, and of course the 3 goes in against them as time expires, and they only win by 1, you lose. So it does make a difference in certain games. I've seen it play out before. Doesn't always happen, but sometimes it can save you going money line instead.
Max, here's the comment of the day. I got to get to this comment. Fuck Temple. They suck. Big man, that's BS. You're a homer. Typical. What? I bet against
There's
Temple
no
every
way
time
he's
I
a
can.
home. He's bet
I'm a
against Temple
sports
many
better,
times. Yeah.
Max. Right, I'm a sports better. When I see a good spot for a team, I'm betting on them. I'm about as little as a homer as you can get. Take that shit out of here. I'm not a homer. I'm giving you a pick that I like out of my card that I'm looking at. So don't bet it. I don't care. All I'm telling you is I think that's a
He
good
had
spot today
Tulsa
for the
the other
Owls.
day, plus the points for crying out loud. Where
I,
were you for that?
I bet against Temple all the time. I mean,
Yeah,
come on. Oh, he's
there's no
getting
home
on me
this
because
year.
he's getting on me because I'm a Yankee fan. Oh, and my dead grandfather got me into the Yankees. Max, if you want a real explanation, you want to get personal, Max? Let's do it. That's why I like the Yankees. I don't need to explain why I like a team to you. That's my team. Sorry, I'm not a 4 for 4 guy like I'm sure you are. I like the Yankees. Sorry. Ian, let's get into a couple games that you like. What do you think?
Now let's start with the earlier ones. I mentioned I'm on Wichita State already. I don't know who the hell's betting Vanderbilt this afternoon. It's certainly not me or my money. Line has moved from pick'em to -2. I don't know what excites people about a 1-14 against the spread team here in this matchup, but it's certainly nothing that excites me. I'll tell you that right now. In fact, now that you can even get +2 now with LSU as a road
Yeah.
underdog, like it even more here in this game. Look, I am not panicking about LSU losing back-to-back home games to Alabama and Georgia. Alabama, pretty good basketball team. Georgia's a feisty, tough road underdog. That has been a consistently good point spread role under Mark Fox for years. Georgia has been a machine in the road underdog role. So to see even Georgia win that game at LSU, that's not something where I say, oh, what's wrong with LSU? They're falling apart. If they're garbage now. No, no, no. They're just a couple losses in a row. And LSU has done some of their best work recently on the road, not necessarily at home. This has been a very good road team, LSU. Now they're off back-to-back home losses. I think there's a little bit now of a sense of urgency to right the ship. I like Will Wade. I trust him to get things turned around here with this LSU team. And all you have to do is look at what's happening to VCU and Mike Rhodes this season to see how much that team misses the coaching of Will Wade. I mean, that's not the same VCU squad this year, not by any stretch of the imagination. Just got obliterated on their home. Mike Rhodes tears a strip off that VCU team for the Dayton loss. They come back against Richmond at home, and Richmond rolls in there and plows them. That's a bad sign for VCU. It tells you how much they miss Will Wade. This is a talented, it's a young team, LSU, but they're talented. I mean, Tremont Waters, fantastic player. Brandon Sampson, Skylar Mays, Aaron Epps. There's a lot of good players on this LSU team. I think they're going to bounce back from the 2 straight home losses. You look at their last 3 road games, 3-0 straight up, 3-0 against the spread. Win at Memphis, win at Texas A&M as underdogs, win at Arkansas by 21 as 9-point underdogs. They're thriving on the road right now. This is a good bounce back situation. If you're betting Vanderbilt game after game, you're just blowing your bankroll. You're losing money hand over fist. They're 0-4 straight up their last 4 games, 0-4 against the spread. They're on a dismal point spread run on the season, as I mentioned. Just 1 point spread cover for the season for this Vanderbilt team, 1-14 against the number. Now they're a favorite against what I think is an LSU team bringing something to the table today after back-to-back losses. Wrong team favored here, in my opinion. Give me LSU +2.
I totally agree with you. I don't understand this. I don't get it. I don't know how these odds makers keep throwing. I mean, even at a pick, I mean, I know it's been better. I mean, who's betting Vandy here? Obviously, sharp money, but this sharp money's been wrong. I think they've been wrong on Vandy all year. I mentioned I thought Vanderbilt was a pure fade, and it's not. It's not just because they're poor ATS. They're 1-14 to the number. Haven't covered a home game this year. Ian, the problem that Vanderbilt has that they're not going to get any better at is I think their players are who they are. I don't think they're going to get any better. This group has gotten worse. I mean, their seniors have gotten worse than when they were freshmen. When you're a basketball team at the level of Vanderbilt, you can't have that. They have to get better. They have to be the same. They can't get worse. And Fisher Davis, LaChance, they've all gotten particularly worse. They're just a dead team. They're bad offensively. They don't play good defense whatsoever. And they Ian shoot a lot of threes. 26 a game they shoot. That's a lot of threes in a game. They don't make any. That means to me they have no particular offense that they run. They just jack up shots. I think LSU, you're right. Will Wade just gives you a calming feeling. I like your pick here on LSU +2. That seems like a good pick. Um, I'm going to go to one here. West Virginia, Texas. Interesting game. I think this is a game, Ian, where the loss of Andrew Jones, I think, is going to hurt Texas finally. West Virginia is off 2 straight losses. They're back in Morgantown. That's a tough place to go play as it is. Second of all, you're going to have a point guard, a freshman point guard, Matt Coleman, handling the basketball today. I like Matt Coleman. He's a good freshman, good player, but That's a tough, tall task to go into West Virginia and handle that press. You're going to have a senior, Javon Carter, guarding you, a guy that, to me, is one of the most unheralded players in the country. I think West Virginia gets it going today. I think they get right today. I think they beat Texas pretty bad here. Texas has definitely figured it out a bit. A lot of those games, though, were at home. I don't know that Mohamed Bamba is going to be as utilized today. Again, I mean, West Virginia has a lot of guys like Mohamed Bamba. Kanate has been an absolute maniac at the rim. That's going to be tough for Bamba. Bamba generally struggles against kids that are more physical than he is. Kanate's a lot more physical than Mama Bamba. That's a concern for me as well. I think West Virginia is a very good play today. This is definitely one that will probably be on my card. Actually, you know what? It is going to be on my card. Give me West Virginia minus, what do we got? 9. Can we still get 9 out there? Let's see. Yes, 9. Readily available. It's across the board. I'm going to go West Virginia minus 9. One of my plays today. What do you think of that, Ian Cameron?
Country roads take you home to the winner's
Exactly.
circle. Take big man home
Yeah.
to that winner's circle. Country roads,
Country
West Virginia. Let's go.
roads, take me home to the
Good stuff.
place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home. Country roads. There you
See,
go.
I'm rubbing off on big man. The Ian karaoke's working.
Almost heaven. West Virginia. Yep, that's what we're singing today. We're dancing. We're dancing
Yeah,
here.
exactly. This smells
Yes,
like
I
the
love it.
circle the wagon spot here for West Virginia. I mean, they're off 2 losses in a row, Texas Tech and Kansas. Not many people can say they can walk into Morgantown and beat West Virginia. Kansas was able to do that. Great performance, but Kansas is capable of doing that. There is no question. And it smells like one of those games where West Virginia, I've seen this before, where they lose a couple in a row, then they play at home and they absolutely lay the wood to somebody. You know, Texas on the road's been a little bit spotty. They barely beat Iowa State on the road in overtime. They lost by 9 at Baylor. They lose at the end against Oklahoma State 65-64. So I think they're walking into a little bit of a buzzsaw here. So I'm not involved in the game, but I'm certainly understand why you'd like West Virginia in this spot.
Yeah, yeah. Gotta play it here. This is one that definitely was one for me when I first saw it. Over 400 people watching the show, Ian. We welcome them all in. Pretty great.
Great.
Welcome
Awesome.
all of you
That is
people.
awesome.
Yeah. Check in, say hello. And we'll try to go rapid fire at the end, try to get through as many games as we can. You know what, Ian Cameron? Let's try to do that now. Let's just go rapid fire. Try to give an opinion on whatever we can here. Where are we going? Purdue, Iowa. Purdue 11.5. Iowa 153. Do you have any thoughts that Iowa can hang around? What has Iowa shown that they can hang around in a game like this? Iowa is a dreadful defensive team. Any look into this game, Ian?
There's conflicting viewpoints for me because Purdue is way better than Iowa. I don't like this Iowa team one bit. Their only win recently in Big Ten play was Illinois in overtime, and Illinois is just not responding right now. We saw that last night when they got ripped apart on the road by Wisconsin. So it's a situation here where Purdue should dominate this team. Yet, oddly enough, Iowa's kind of had Purdue's number on this court. Iowa's been very good at home over the years against Purdue in this Fran McCaffrey versus Matt Painter matchup. That's a little bit of a concern for me that Iowa's just been so strong at home recently against Purdue. But the history to me, it doesn't overweigh the fact that Purdue is much better than Iowa this year. Gun to the head, I'd lean Purdue, but I'm not going to get involved.
Yeah, I think defensively is going to be a difference in this game. Purdue's giving up 62 points a game. Really been on fire lately on the defensive end. Listen, Iowa does rebound a basketball. They're a good offensive team, decent from 3. I could see it, but it's just real hard to jump in front of the Boilermakers right now. I think they're a secret Final Four team, if you will. Where are we going? Ian, why don't you get into a couple games? What are you looking at?
Yeah, a couple more games. Well, we had a winner with Niagara, the Purple Eagles, the other night against Quinnipiac. They got the job done. Spread covering, I think, an 8-point win on the road against Quinnipiac. Now they're catching 2.5, 3 at Fairfield. Early start, Metro Atlantic play, 1 o'clock tip off. And I don't really get it. Niagara's playing good. They've been a covering machine on the road lately, playing very good ball, actually, away from the Gallagher Center in Niagara. We talked about how Matt Scott and Khalil Dukes are a tremendous backcourt tandem for this Niagara team, can score the basketball. Fairfield is just, they've been dreadful. And now they're in a situation where they're not only going to have to win the game, they're going to have to win the game by 3 or more to cover this number. Fairfield's been a disaster. They're not good defensively. That's not good against this Niagara team that can absolutely fill it up. Niagara's not a great defensive team either, but they have been at least a little bit better. They've gotten stops when they've needed it. They really clamped down defensively late in that game against Quinnipiac the other night. Okay, it's their second road game in 3 days. Maybe that explains why Fairfield was what 2.5, and now it's moved a little bit up, but I don't see it. I think Niagara's flat out better than Fairfield. Will find a way to win this basketball game, even though it is a second road game for them in 3 days. I think they could still overcome that, get the job done. So I'm looking at Niagara there. And late night action, I'm looking at Portland, the Pilots, in West Coast Conference action, plus 6.5 against Loyola Marymount. Here's another team that I think has no business laying 6.5 right now, Loyola Marymount. And finally, a pulse. Finally, a sign of life from Portland in their last game when, as a double-digit underdog against San Diego, they won the game outright. And I'm looking for these kind of teams change their spots. Suddenly, wow, they gained some confidence. Bad team, middling team that finds some confidence. Portland did that with that win against San Diego the other night. Loyola Marymount's been just a disaster, especially laying points. I think Portland's got a little confidence, and this could be one of those teams that was a disaster early on. They finally get a win. Maybe you can ride a little bit of a point spread streak now with this Portland team. I'm going to try that tonight. Portland plus the 6.5 against Loyola Marymount. I think they can win this game too. I mean, a little money line sprinkle on Portland there as a 6.5 point underdog, I think is worth a shot too.
Yeah, Loyola Marymount sucks. I mean, I watched them the other night against BYU. They stink. Uh, 2:30 p.m. The end. 571, 572. I think LaSalle's intriguing today at Richmond. The concern I have with LaSalle is their road record. But I'm confident they can beat Richmond. Richmond's coming off a win against VCU, a rivalry game that they were able to get the job done in, and maybe coming into a little bit of a letdown here against LaSalle. I think LaSalle we've put, mentioned Pookie Powell's fantastic. He's a top 50 player in the country to me overall. He's fantastic. BJ Johnson's back healthy, which is a big return as well. I'm confident LaSalle can go on the road and get a win here, especially with Richmond off that big win against VCU. Other than that, Richmond really hasn't had much to be excited about this year. They've just not been very good. Defensively, have had a little bit of trouble, and at times really have struggled on the offensive end. I'm pretty confident LaSalle can go on the road and get a win here. Any shot at in looking at this?
Yeah, that game was not on my radar, but to me, it's you make a good case. I mean, Richmond, give them credit. They beat VCU on the road earlier this week, but is that a good thing that Richmond did, or is that just them taking advantage of a VCU team that's just, they're fledgling right now? There's no doubt in my mind there's something not right with VCU right now, the way they've played. That's back-to-back bad losses for them against Dayton and Richmond. This is going to tell the tale. Was that more good Richmond or bad VCU that last game? This is going to tell the tale, but I got to see another good performance from Richmond before I trust them. So if you like LaSalle, I've got no major disagreement with that.
569, 570, an intriguing game here. Uh, I think Seton Hall looks like the play here. It's hard to envision why they're a 2.5 point favorite here against Xavier. You and I could both argue Xavier's a better team. On paper, they look like the better team. Why is all the money coming in on Seton Hall? Because the public's on Xavier. This looks like one of those stone cold lines that we talk about. Um, do I like Xavier? Yes. Do I want to back them here? Yes. But I'm sorry, Seton Hall looks like the play here. This might be just one of those where you sit back and watch it. I like this Seton Hall team. Delgado's an absolute beast. Um, I don't think there's a lot to not like about Seton Hall. This looks like one of those games where they get the win and cover and hurt a little bit, hurt some tickets today.
I'm with you. I'm on Seton Hall. This actually is one of my plays, -2. But again, I personally bet money line. Again, when it's -2 or less, that's what I do. I just go right for the money line. Let's not forget Seton Hall here in this home court. Perfect this season, 11-0 straight up. This Seton Hall Pirates team at home this season has been a very good home court. What I like is the situation. Desi Rodriguez was benched and given a lot less minutes in the loss against Creighton in their last game. Bad loss for Seton Hall. It's a good bounce back spot for them. And Desi Rodriguez, I think, comes to play today and has a huge game against a team he's had multiple big games against. He has really played well against Xavier in the past. I think you see more of that here. Seton Hall off that 11-point blowout road loss at Creighton. I think you're going to get a bounce back from them. They've been a good home team. Like I say, they've won every Big East home game so far. They beat Creighton at home, covered the number, won by 16, beat St. John's at home, crushed Georgetown at home. So, and Xavier on the road, they've still got to show me something. I mean, other than beating Marquette 91-87, and they gave up a lot of points in that game. They lose by 9 at Providence. They get crushed at Villanova. This team on the road still has to prove me something. Seton Hall's dominated this series too from a point spread perspective. Seton Hall 6-0 against the spread. Last 6 head-to-head meetings against Xavier. I think that continues here today. The one concern is Xavier's a far superior free throw shooting team, and normally I do not like going on the team that's the much weaker free throw shooting percentage team, but I'm going to make an exception in this case. I really think it's a good spot. They've had dominated this team ATS head to head. Good bounce back spot for Seton Hall on a good home court, and I think they get the job done.
Yeah, I agree. Guys, keep in mind the show that we're doing here every morning is really just to look at the games. I don't think I think a couple of us will release a couple plays that we're on. The only play I'm on so far is West Virginia. The rest of the plays I'll tweet out. I just don't know that what I'm on yet. I haven't decided. We're just trying to go through as many games as we can here. Where else are we going to go here, Ian? Interesting game. This is one I talked about last night on Gabe's show. This Oakland Detroit game, 597, 598. I mean, the total's high, 172. It's come down a little bit, which I just think it came down a little bit because the number was so high. I just find a hard time believing this game's not both these teams in the 90s, 97, 89 or something. And this game doesn't go way over. And both these teams go incredibly quick, hyper speed. They both score a ton. Neither team plays any defense. They both get to the foul line. Is this not a straightforward overplay here?
It could be. I mean, you're going to get pace. You're going to get pace from Detroit. You're going to get pace from Greg Campy and his Oakland team. There's no question. The teams that jack up shots, they don't methodically move the ball and pass the ball around and use seconds off the shot clock. These are two teams that just run it and gun it. I think you're probably going to see that kind of performance. And Oakland, to me, is always one of those teams that they turn their defensive intensity and their performance level on and off like a water faucet. I mean, that's been the issue with Oakland. When they're locked in defensively, they can be very, very good. Oh, and they play absolutely no defense when there's no contesting of shots, when there's no good rotations, when they're not rebounding, closing out defensive possessions, doing that, they're a bad defensive team. And I've seen those kind of up and down, inconsistent efforts on the defensive end of the basketball court time and time again from Oakland. Not just this season, but years past as well. So, you should see points. It's just a question of, is the total too high? Maybe not in this case, because there's been some games it's stayed below, but there's also been some games that have closed in on 200 total points. So really could go either way, but you're going to get the pace from both teams necessary to get that game up and over the total. The over that sticks out to me on this card, because I often like looking at the odd total here and there. I don't know at this point in time how Drexel and James Madison stays under the total. That's a game I'd be looking at over the total in. You look at this Drexel team, 5-2 to the over in their last 7 games. Last couple games, 91-86 lost to Hofstra, give up 91. They give up 90 to Towson, 90 to 68 in their last game. They're not playing any sort of defense. Last 5 games, Drexel's allowing 84 points per game, 48.9% shooting. That's horrific. Yeah, that's a terrible percentage to be given up. James Madison, is not a gifted offensive team, but at home they've been able to put the ball in the hoop a little bit better. 76 points per game, 40% shooting at home. They should be able to score against this Drexel team that isn't offering up any sort of resistance defensively right now, trending to the over. And even James Madison, look at their over results lately, 6-1 over the total their last 7 games. I think we got a higher scoring affair there. 148.5, not an unreasonable plateau to get up and over.
No, it's not. You're totally right. Drexel's an awful defensive team. And look, you're right. James Madison is a bit better. If you're getting a total under 150 in the CAA, I think ultimately you always have to take a look at it. That's a conference generally with plenty of tempo, plenty of Plenty of good offenses. I like the play. USC, Oregon State. Someone's asking about. Yeah, listen. I mentioned USC. I think they're a team that if they continue to care and to want to play for this season, I think they can beat anybody. The problem that they had for most of the year is they've been way too inconsistent. They got a big win against Oregon in Oregon. That's a huge win. Seems like they're playing almost at this point for Melton. A guy I might add that should not be suspended. It's a shame that he's actually suspended. I think they kind of keep the momentum going here. Oregon State's playing better off a nice win against UCLA. You took Arizona State to the cleaners almost. Hung tough with Arizona, but this USC team coming in, they're just not a team I look to bet against on a frequent basis. I think they're better. I think they're starting to get a little momentum here. If I had to play that one to that listener, I would look towards the Trojans. For
Yeah, I
over
agree. I agree
420
with that.
20 people in here. Yeah. Want to
Yeah,
shout out
that's
those guys. Yeah. Please continue to like the show. I hope you're enjoying the content. We're trying to get to as many games as possible. Continue in.
Yeah, I was just going to say quickly, I lean USC as well. I don't trust Oregon State to win two conference games in a row. There's not a team that's used to winning conference games. I mean, Wayne Tinkle's a solid coach. His son's a good player on this team, but nice win for them against UCLA. But UCLA's sort of fallen apart a little bit. They've never been the same since the much ballyhooed, publicized LiAngelo Ball incident in China at the beginning of the season. That's really taken away a lot of this team's depth, everything that stemmed from that incident. USC's playing better, 3-0 straight up, 3-0 against the spread. As a team that dramatically underachieved early in the season, but they get home wins against Colorado, Utah, road win at Oregon. I just don't know if I trust Oregon State off a huge win like that against a team like UCLA to bounce back. So it's kind of a negative spot for USC too, off a big road win at Oregon. So, but I trust USC's talent to win out. So if I'm playing that game, I'm looking at the Trojans as well.
A little bit of murky water here. Tulane, SMU. I love SMU at home, but I think you're getting a little too many points here if you like Tulane. I think it might be a decent spot to back them. Dre Foster out for SMU. That's a valued piece of that cohort. Not going to be in today. Tulane's obviously improved. They've done a nice job this year. They're good from the foul line. They don't turn the ball over a ton. They're good from three. I think they can hang in this game and stay within 12 and a half. This isn't the same old Green Wave team. Mike Dunleavy's done a real nice job with this group. Listen, is SMU going to win? Yeah, they should. They usually win every game at home, but I believe this is their first game back at home since that game against Temple University. So, listen, you're taking a team that's what are they? I think they're 45-2 over their last 47 games at home, but I'm not asking for them to win. I'm just asking them for not to cover 12 and a half. I think this might be a decent spot to take the green wave. You're going to get a good
Yep.
effort out of this group. I would consider maybe taking Tulane here.
Yeah, SMU has been awfully moody, if you don't mind me saying, on their home court recently. It's they haven't been the lockdown, shut down, just blast teams pillar to post at home like they've done in years past, and certainly back when Larry Brown was coaching this team. Just not quite that same dominating, just crush your opponent into oblivion type of performances that we're seeing from SMU at home this season. I mean, you go back, Temple beat them on this home court, 66-64. They had a couple instances where they did not cover the number. UCF, they were a big favorite there. They only won by 5. And you got to worry a little bit after the huge road win at Wichita State. You're just not supposed to win at Wichita State, and SMU played a tremendous game on both ends of the basketball court. Is this a little bit of a flat spot for them? Well, with Tulane, we've gotten one really good road game out of them. They won outright as a road dog at Temple, but then they got beaten by Memphis on the road, 96-89. But again, they only lost that game by 7. They stay within that 7, 8, 9, 10-point range. It cashes a ticket here in this game. So I'm kind of with you. If I play this game, I lean Tulane.
Yeah. A lot of people talking about VMI Citadel. The common, I'm not going to say the common amateur way of looking at Citadel is, listen, are they a good over team? Yeah, they have been. But this year, I think they've been incredibly overvalued in the overs market. I think people need to wake up and realize Citadel is not that good on the offensive end. They only shoot it at 37.5% on the road. That's awful. Okay, when you get teams that will run with them, then you have a shot. But I got to tell you, The latest team you want to think that's going to run with them is the VMI Cadets. They don't do that. They're slow. They're 260th in possessions per game. They only score 55 and a half points a game over the last five. On the season, 64 points a game. You got a total here at what, 166? I get if you like that. I get if you like overs with Citadel. They're always going to make it easy on you considerably. But you look at VMI, 8-2 to the under this year. That's a lot of points. You're going to need both teams to get into the 80s and probably a team hit 90. They're overvalued this year on overs. They just are.
They are.
Um, can they beat VMI? Yeah. But you have to remember also the problem with Citadel this year is they lost their best player. Preston Parks was kicked off the team. And for this Citadel team, they've been a mess without him. They're not a good road team. The only saving grace you have is that Citadel is awful defensively. But other than that, I mean, VMI really plays slow. They really grind it down. Neither of these teams is good from three. One of these teams is not good from the foul line. You could leave a lot of points at the line here. Um, I mean, did last year's game go over? Yeah, but the other one didn't. I'm not so quick to jump on VMI and Citadel overs anymore. I think it's the common old theme that Citadel goes over, and you'd be right, it does. But it's a lot of the time against high level competition they're going over. Against these teams that are worse or the same as them, I just don't know that I can co-sign that.
It's funny, I was digging into that game and looking to make a case for the over, and I backed away because I see two teams really trending under the total. Two teams that have had
Yeah.
their totals overinflated time and time again, and that's why they're staying under the total. And it's not a hop, skip, and a jump to get over 165. You're going to have offensive execution. You're going to have shot making. You're going to have teams hitting their free throws. You're going to have fouls. And you haven't always seen that consistently from either team. So a lean I had to the over there quickly got washed away, and I kept it on the sideline.
Yeah, I think you have to. I mean, I think with the way they're playing right now. I mean, you look at their last game against Greensboro. I saw a lot of people touting that over too. I don't think it got to 120, let alone 170. So you got to watch yourself this year with Citadel. Are they bad defensively? Yeah, but I think a lot. And we have to remember a lot of those that defensive point total was given up early in the year to Division One Power Five teams. Um, Towson State UNC Wilmington's an interesting game. Wilmington is awful on defense. Towson's been pretty good on the road this year. They've covered 4 of 5. Been The thing I like about Towson State this year is they're a lot better defensively or offensively. I mean, usually they're very grinded out. They want to play in the low 60s. This year they found themselves an offense, and they're rolling from that avenue. I think they can hang with UNC Wilmington on the boards. I don't think they'll be bothered at all a ton by the press. This might be worth the game to take a look at. Any look into this game?
Yeah, nothing too much on this game for me. A lot of questions in the chat about Ohio State, Minnesota. Yeah, Amir Coffey is expected to be back for Minnesota. This is an early game, noon Eastern. Ohio State laying 9.5 on the road. I still don't want Minnesota. I don't think they've been right. I've been looking to bet against them. I missed out betting against them with Penn State. That didn't work out well, but I was able to get in on them against Maryland the other night. Maryland got the job done. It's one of those situations where I'm reluctant to really deal with this Minnesota team right now. But the problem with laying 9.5 with Ohio State is at some point the shoe is going to drop on this. The other shoe is going to drop on this team. You can't keep covering numbers at this rate. I think there's inflation now toward this Ohio State team. They've played very good basketball. Diop is a fantastic player. Jayshawn Tate, Holtman's done a great job coming over from Butler, coaching this team. He's done a great job. Buckeyes have been a big surprise, but I just don't know if the value's there anymore to back them.
Yeah, I mean, Coffee coming back's big. Obviously, that's going to help. Um, One I'm looking at, Ian, 739, 740, kind of an off the radar game. Big Sky. Actually, I'm sorry, 737, 738. I want to take a look at how good Weber State is against that press, because I think if on Weber's defensive end, they're really good. They're really elite defensive team. They're at home here. Um, if they can handle the press, I might be interested in Weber State late night. I'm going to take a little bit more look into this game, see how they handle that press. I think this might be worth a look. I think Weber State's a really good basketball team. I think they're the one team that plays some really good defense in this conference. And Portland State, I think, really hit their climax, if you will, a couple weeks ago. The Portland State Vikings aren't as interesting to back. They're not at home here. This is a tough trip. I kind of am looking at Weber State, but I want to look more into, like I said, how they are against the press.
I'll tell you, I'm going to bring up 2 games in a row that I'm interested in to watch. Betting wise, I don't have a ton of them. I got to bring this game up because it's a great game. I can't wait to see it. Conference USA, you could say it's a battle for first. Middle Tennessee State,
Yeah.
Western Kentucky. What a game that's going to be. Western Kentucky taking money, 4.5 home favorite, up to 5.5, 6 across the board. I think at some point there might be some value on MTSU. They had a road loss to Marshall in their last game. I don't think there's anything to hang your head about, though. Marshall's got a very good home court. They play good basketball at home under Dan D'Antoni. They really go up and down. They're a frenetic pace type of team. Through Middle Tennessee State for a loop. But Western Kentucky taking money. I can also see that. I mean, this is a team that I think can beat Middle Tennessee State and win this conference, take them down. They're playing great. They've got all their guys eligible now. They just recently got a couple of key cogs back in their rotation for Rick Stansbury, and they're really taking off. They're playing fantastic basketball right now, Western Kentucky. That's a great game. But as that line trickles up, I think you'll see value a little bit on MTSU. I'd lean that way, but I'm just not in the business of trying to go against Western Kentucky right now. It's a team playing good. The other big, small, not a mid-major because it's Mountain West, but Boise State, Nevada is a fantastic basketball game as well. That's another battle for first place in the conference. Nevada laying 6, 6.5. Boise State's been a good road underdog. They really have. They've been very, very good as a road dog. Nevada's not been a great point spread team as of late. However, Nevada really did get the better of Boise State last year in the 2 meetings head to head. I might look to buck the Boise State road dog trend a little bit. I still think Nevada's the superior team in that matchup. As that line sits at 6, it's a little bit now of a cheaper line to deal with. I'd still lean Nevada. I like that team under Eric Musselman at home. Pretty good court there in Reno. Should be a good game, but I'd lean Nevada if I play that one.
I had a listener say to me the other day, Ian, that Chandler Hutchinson, the Boise State forward, is the next Kyle Kuzma of this draft coming in. He said a hell of a year. He's a hell of a player. That's going to be a great game. You're totally right. Let me go rapid fire here, Ian Cameron. I'm going to fire off a couple. Alabama might be really worth a look today. I do need to see what Colin Sexton's status is, though. Dante Hall is probable. He'll be back. And Nick Witherspoon, one of the Witherspoon brothers, one of the catalysts for this Bulldog team, is questionable today. If he's not in there, that's a huge loss. You're also getting a Bulldog team here that has not covered on the road this year. They're 0-4 to the number. You get a team in Alabama who's fantastic at home. They're masterful there. That is definitely one that I'm looking at. I need to though know what Sexton's status is. This game's not till 8:30 p.m. So again, I would all strongly urge all of you, follow me on Twitter. No need to ask me when the games are coming out. This is my life. I'll make sure they come out. Ian, that's always one of my favorites. I get people to DM me and go, "Hey, what are your games for today? I don't want to miss them." I say, "Listen, I'll get them out. Don't worry." Uh, Duke laying a gigantic number today. I gotta ask. I mean, I know they're at home. I know Pitt's terrible, but I mean, what's their concern with covering this game? I mean, they got obviously much bigger fish to fry in
Yep.
the ACC. You got a big game this week against um, Virginia next Saturday. You got a game at Wake over the week, which could be a trip up game. You got Notre Dame. You got UNC coming up. Um, Listen, Pitt's awful. I know they won the last game by like 50, but it's definitely interesting. I'll be interested to see if they can cover this 30-point number because, yeah, look, that you need to be perfect in a game like that, and Duke very well can be. And it's interesting though. I mean, this Pittsburgh team's been a big under trender, 12-2 to the under this year. Duke, on the other hand, has been a really good over team. It'll be interesting to see how much air they take out of the ball when they're up 25 in this game, and if this game can get up and over the total. It's at 153. Um, you would think Duke will put up 80 or 90 here. That means you're going to need Pittsburgh to score, I don't know, 70. I don't know if they can do that. Under might be worth a look. But after my last under bet on Duke, which I got railroaded in late in that one, I'm a little skeptical because Duke does go real fast. They're a great rebounding team. So that's just an interesting one to keep your eye on, seeing if Duke can cover that big number. One or two more here, and then we'll kind of wrap it up, maybe give out a play of the day, and move on here. By the way, Barham Jenkins saying that Oakland Detroit's a bit of a rivalry game. Yeah, you're right. I mean, great point by you. He's mentioned the first half. Okay, yeah, I don't bet a ton of first halves. I think the game for full game wise is coming really towards the point of maybe you have some value on Oakland. If this was 14-15, I'd probably lean with the dog here, but Detroit Mercy's really struggled. It seems like an adventure every day to figure out who's playing for them. I think one thing we will know is they're going to get shredded on the defensive end. But that's one we already talked about. Kansas State's interesting at home. They're off that big win against Oklahoma. A similar profiled game here. Every game's big in the Big 12. They were able to win TCU without Jalen Fisher the other night. At what point is it going to cost them? They have Alex Robinson running the point. He's still a pretty good point guard. The difference for me and the problem that I have with the TCU Horned Frogs is they don't play a whole lot of defense. That's a concern for them. I think at times they're really bad defensively. And I like Kansas State. The question is, can they keep it going 2 games in a row at home? It's just not as good as a betting profile as they had against Oklahoma. So for me, I wouldn't be interested. Where else are we gonna go here?
Very quickly
Creighton,
on Duke
Providence.
Pittsburgh, very
Yeah.
quickly on that one. Pitt, I'm holding my nose and I'm taking plus 29.5. I have to in
Are you
principle.
really?
This is a dead spot. This is as dead a dead
Yes.
spot in the schedule for Duke as you can ask for. Thrilling come from behind win in the last 6 minutes the other night against Miami on that Monday night game. You got big games coming up. Wake, North Carolina, Virginia, go on down the list. You don't have to go out there, and Coach K's not stupid. He realizes this. You don't have to wear your guys into the ground so you can beat Pittsburgh by 30 points or more. Get the job done by 15 to 20, even 25. You're more than happy if you're Coach K, and Pittsburgh still cashes a ticket. It's just too many points for a spot where Duke may be a little bit flat.
No, I agree with you. Big man, if I made a sharper than most T-shirt, would you buy one? Listen, I would very well thank you for your efforts. I would take one as a memento to you, but would I wear it? No, I would not wear it. I would definitely hang it on my wall maybe or something, but I can't say I would wear it. I'm not into stuff like with words and stuff on the t-shirt. I'm more into like Lacoste and the polos, and the only shirt I have with words on it is a sports team, or I do have that Free Meek Mill shirt, but the Free Meek Mill is an ode to Meek Mill. Other than that, I prefer a little bit more colored stuff and track suits, things that match my sneakers. I can't say I would wear that, but I would take one for sure. Um, where else are we going here? Let's chat box here. How about Utah State? I don't have much in that game, Lucky. Sorry. Did I get laid last night? No, I didn't actually. I was actually at the barbershop. Then I went and did Gabe's show. So no, last night was not one of those days. Though I might in the next couple days. We'll see. I usually try to do it once a week. Where else are we going here? I really hate Everton. I'm done with them. All right. Well, yeah, I hear you. Good luck with that. Um, Ian, any other games you're looking at here on the card? Lot of games. Obviously, we can't get to everyone. Do you have anything else you're looking at?
Yeah, it stinks the line's moved so much against the side I'm on in this game, but it has. It's what you got to live with when in overnight lines people crush it. But Creighton opened a 1 point road favorite at Providence. It's now 2.5. Providence is a home favorite. I laid one with Providence in this game. That's the side I'm looking at there. Look, Creighton on the road still has a lot to prove to me. Other than beating Georgetown, okay, Georgetown's no good. You lost to Seton Hall on the road. You got crushed by Xavier on the road. You got to show me you can go on the road, beat this Providence team. I'm not convinced they can. And Martin Crampelli injuries big time. Because now it means Hegner's going to have to play more minutes. You're going to have to find more guys on the bench in that low post to fill those minutes, fill the void, and get the job done. That could be a problem here against this Providence team from a matchup standpoint. Let's not forget, Creighton didn't just fall apart last year when their big guard got injured. Didn't just play bad; they fell apart completely when they suffered a massive injury last year as well. That could
Watson.
happen
Yeah.
here in this. Yeah, Watson. There we go. Mo Watson Jr. Thank you very much. That's the guy. and they didn't play well right after that injury happened. That's something that I think could happen here, at least for this game here against Providence. So I like Providence to win that game. I laid a single point, even 2.5. It's still a decent enough price to get involved with the Friars there.
Yeah, it's a shame with Creighton. They're a team that I really like year after year, and it seems like they always have one of these big injuries that happen. Definitely a shame for that team. Always very well coached there in Omaha. We'll wrap it up. We'll obviously, you know, do what we can on Twitter. Try to take some questions if you have them. I'll tell you what. After the show, I'll do 20 minutes on Twitter. If you have a question on a game, just hit me up and I'll respond. I can't do a show today. I got to go get my car detailed. I got to do some stuff. Ian, tomorrow, obviously the big game. I got to go out and get some tailgating fixtures. I got, all sorts of shit I got to worry about. So do me a favor, 20 minutes after the show, feel free, hit me up on Twitter at Jeff Nadu. I'll try to answer your questions on each game if you have one that we didn't talk about. For me, the only game that I'm going to send out at this point is the West Virginia Mountaineers. I'm confident they can get a big time win today here. I think it's a real good spot for this team, and I don't think it's a good spot for the Texas Longhorns on the road here. This is going to be a tough, tough, tough thing to prepare for without high level point guards. Give me West Virginia -9. The rest will be added on Twitter a little bit later. Ian, what did you want to throw out to the listeners?
All right, quickly, we'll go through a bunch of them. We're on Wichita State early. We're on LSU +2. We're on Portland tonight +6.5. Niagara +2.5, 3. We're on Providence, as I just mentioned. We're taking a small stab with Pittsburgh as a huge, massive underdog. And one game we didn't talk about, I'm gonna take Georgia +9 at Auburn. Auburn finally got smacked in the face the other night against Alabama. They had their win streak snapped. Let's see. Oftentimes, when a team has a winning streak snapped, there's a little bit of a bounce, a little bit of a letdown after that happens. That might happen for Auburn, and they're laying 9 points here. They got to win by double digits practically against a Georgia team that hasn't been just good, great in the underdog role. So add Georgia to the mix too for me. Georgia +9 in that game.
I like it. As always, Ian, great stuff, man. Always look forward to the show here every weekend. Thanks to Wanma for producing. Everyone have a great day. Feel free to reach out to me on Twitter. I'm sure Ian will opine as well with basketball questions. Everyone have a great day. We'll see you back here on Monday on SBR. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.
Good luck, everybody.